The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News Headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Michelle Moncrief, thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, JN Bank warns micro, small and medium-sized enterprises need more than capital to secure real growth. On the regional front, the Caribbean Development Bank rolls out data-driven policy to transform Cayman's small business landscape. And over on the global stage, crypto markets retreat, profit-taking and signals from the Fed spark a global pullback. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. Remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so Mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a strong message to Jamaica's small business sector. Jamaica's micro, small and medium-sized enterprises are being urged to look beyond capital and technology if they want to secure long-term growth. Deputy Managing Director of JN Bank, Gillian Hyde, told entrepreneurs at the recent Empower JA Forum at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel that access to funds and digital solutions, while important, are not sufficient for sustainability. The Empower JA Forum, hosted by the private sector organization of Jamaica PSOJ and the Inter-American Development Bank IDB, was staged under the theme, The New Finance Frontier, Empowering SMEs with Tailored Capital Solutions.
The solutions these businesses require go beyond ease and efficiency of digital technology. It's not simply about accessing money, but it's about real-life partnerships and collaborations that make sense, that help to inform financial solutions.
Instead, she argued that real progress will come from building financial partnerships that support businesses in practical ways.
What they need and are seeking are not merely a JN Bank or Bank of Nova Scotia or NCB, but they need financial partners who understand their vision, are willing to listen to the mission, and who are not just willing to lend funds, but to guide and facilitate ideas.
That was Deputy Managing Director of JN Bank, Gillian Hyde. Acting President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, SBAJ, Denise Williams, says access to financing remains the single biggest barrier to growth for the country's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Speaking during an exclusive interview with CBX News earlier today, Williams noted that the toughest hurdle for small businesses is eligibility for credit.
Eligibility is one of the biggest roadblocks to the sector. And what does that mean? Eligibility looks at the 5 C's of credit. This is, your collateral, which can be a challenge, your character, which again is tracked by financial statements and your credit report. And there are other items that the banks look at that many small businesses are not aware of.
Williams says that many entrepreneurs struggle with the financial and compliance requirements that determine whether they qualify for loans.
So they know their business. I'm a hairdresser. I'm a importer of, construction equipment. I know my business, but the business of running a business, that is where the stumbling blocks lie. And that is what makes many small businesses ineligible for funding.
That was Acting President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. The Small Business Association of Jamaica represents 700 direct members, but speaks on behalf of more than 425,000 small businesses island-wide, making it the largest advocacy voice for the sector. And a bold new blueprint for Jamaica's tourism sector is taking shape. Newly reappointed Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has unveiled a sweeping vision to reposition the industry over the next 5 years, promising that Jamaicans will claim a bigger share of the multi-billion-dollar sector. Speaking on Sunday at the opening of the Jamaica Product Exchange 2025 trade show currently underway in Montego Bay, Bartlett described the year ahead as seminal, with the widest consultation in tourism history to craft new policies, legislation, and regulations. He says the focus will be on local first, ensuring that communities, small businesses, and local industries are tied into the lucrative tourism value chain. Bartlett, who has already delivered on his target of 5 million visitors and US $5 billion in earnings in his last term, now projects an era of inclusive growth, noting that global travel could surge to 3 billion tourists within the next decade. Jamaica, he stressed, must position itself as the destination of choice. With more than 160 international buyers in attendance at JPEX, Bartlett declared that the partnerships forged will make tourism more beneficial to Jamaicans than at any other point in the nation's history. We go now to updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Monday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $160.79, the Canadian for $116.72, the pound for $215.39, while the going rate for the euro is $188.76. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities markets. In Monday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 117 stocks, of which 47 advanced, 51 declined, and 19 traded firm. Leading the winners are Pulse Investments, Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD, the Limnas and Bards, and 138 Student Living Jamaica. While leading the losers are Honeybun 1982, Caribbean Producers Jamaica, Cargo Handlers, and Key Insurance Company. The main index advanced by 469.16 points, or 0.15%, to close at 319,199.49 points. The Junior Market Index also advanced, but by 5.64 points, or 0.17%, to close at 3,406.66 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we're defining repurchase agreements, or repos. Repos are short-term borrowing instruments widely used in government securities markets. In a typical transaction, a dealer sells securities to an investor with an agreement to buy them back, usually the next day at a slightly higher price. That difference in price represents the implied interest rate. Repos provide quick access to funding, help financial institutions manage liquidity, and are key tools used by central banks in open market operations.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items, such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. The Caribbean Development Bank is teaming up with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development to chart a bold new path for small businesses. With nearly $80,000 in grant funding, the partners will develop a national small business policy designed to strengthen the country's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. The initiative aims to improve business confidence, drive long-term growth, and ensure inclusive participation in the economy. The new policy will prioritize women, youth, and entrepreneurs in non-traditional industries, while giving Caymanian MSMEs a stronger voice in national development strategies. CDB's Private Sector Division Chief Lisa Harding underscored the bank's commitment to inclusive growth, saying the project will boost competitiveness and build resilience across the MSME sector. Premier Andre Ebanks also welcomed the initiative, noting that it supports the government's vision to reduce barriers, improve access to financing, and create the right conditions for entrepreneurship and innovation. Barbados is sharpening its economic diplomacy to give local businesses a stronger foothold in the lucrative United States market. Foreign Trade Minister Kerry Simmons, addressing Barbadians in New York on the weekend, admitted that while the island's products enjoy wide recognition, producers continue to face serious hurdles in penetrating the American marketplace.
Some things like getting our products onto supermarket shelves across every district of New York and in every borough of New York City, every borough of New York, not New York City, every borough of New York can be achieved. And you all know the products that we have, I ain't going to tell you, you know the products very well.
Minister Kerry Simmons says the government must step up to support Barbadian exporters.
And I can tell you off the cuff that there are some challenges that some of our major producers have, and I'm not here to advertise anybody's product, but I can say to you that as they talk to me as Minister of Foreign Trade, I realize that we do need to do even more to try to facilitate Barbadian businesses as they try to penetrate and function competitively in this United States market.
That was Barbados's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kerry Simmons. In other news, Latin America and the Caribbean are in the middle of a financial revolution, reshaping how millions access and use money. The Global Findex 2025 shows account ownership across the region has jumped from 50% in 2017 to 70% in 2024, with most users now going digital. At the heart of the shift are 5 major drivers. First is instant, interoperable payment systems, which allows customers to transfer funds seamlessly across banks, wallets, and QR codes. Second is a rebound in fintech investment, with $1.2 billion in deals recorded in the first half of 2024. Third are open finance frameworks like Chile's 2024 FinTech law, which gives consumers control over their data and expanding access to new products. Fourth is responsible artificial intelligence, which is helping extend credit to those without traditional histories while strengthening fraud detection. And finally, a behavior shift from cash to digital, with in-person cash transactions falling below 25% in 2024. The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, says the transformation is just beginning and that scaling innovation will require deeper partnerships between regulators, investors, and entrepreneurs. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 22 securities, of which 5 advanced, 6 declined, and 11 traded firm. Today's winners are JMMB Group, Guardian Holdings, Prestige Holdings, and First Citizens Group Financial Holdings. while leading the losers are National Enterprises, Point Lissa's Industrial Port Development Corporation, Trinidad and Tobago NGL, and the West Indian Tobacco Company. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 2.47 points to close at 1,411.77. The Composite Index declined by 1.46 points to close at 982.22. The Cross-Listed Index declined by 0.05 points to close at 73.18. The SME Index remained at 100.64. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Let's all get fit. This summer set drip. Hip dips and split. Power in the mind. Let's get healthy with it. Sometimes your body's so hard, but your body wants it. And then your head is so hard, and it's so like this. So we gotta go 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. One more now. 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3, go.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. In the international news today, the People's Bank of China, PBOC, kept its key lending rates unchanged for a fourth consecutive month in September, matching market expectations as policymakers navigate a fragile domestic recovery and shifting global conditions. The one-year loan prime rate, LPR, the benchmark for most household and corporate loans, remained at 3%, while the 5-year LPR, which guides mortgage rates, was held at 3.5. Both rates were last cut by 10 basis points in May. The decision follows the PBOC's move last week to keep the 7-day reversed repo rate steady. The steady stance comes amid signs of easing China-US trade tensions, but growing concerns over weakening domestic momentum. Industrial production in August grew at its slowest pace in a year, while retail sales hit a 9-month low. Although new won loans bounced back after July's contraction, overall credit expansion still missed forecasts, underscoring a cautious sentiment among consumers and businesses despite earlier monetary easing. WTI crude reversed early gains to trade around $61.88 per barrel on Monday as markets balanced rising geopolitical tensions with concerns over demand and trade uncertainty. Fresh fears of regional escalation emerged after reports of Russian airstrikes near western Ukraine, airspace violations in Estonia, and a Russian military aircraft entering neutral Baltic airspace. In response, the EU unveiled its 19th sanctions package against Russia, including a ban on LNG imports and restrictions on 118 additional shadow vessels. Tensions also flared in the Middle East, where several nations formally recognized Palestine ahead of a key UN summit on the two-state solution, drawing criticism from Israel and the US. On the supply side, increased oil exports from Iraq amid a gradual easing of OPEC Plus voluntary production cuts added downward pressure on prices, slowing global demand, and ongoing tariff concerns further weighed on market sentiment. Cryptocurrency markets pulled back sharply this week, reversing last week's gains as investors booked profits and grew cautious amid a lingering macroeconomic uncertainty. Bitcoin, which recently approached 118,000, slipped below key support levels as traders locked in gains from the post-Fed rally. Volatility was amplified by liquidations of leveraged positions and mixed signals from the Federal Reserve, which cut rates but warned of persistent inflation risks. Broader risk sentiment also cooled, pressuring major tokens like Ethereum and XRP. Analysts say the pullback reflects a market pause rather than a structural shift, with crypto assets still up significantly year to date. Canada's Industrial Producer Price Index, IPPI, rose 0.5% month over month in August, easing from a 0.7% gain in July and falling short of market expectations for a 0.9% increase. The slower pace was largely due to a decline in energy and petroleum prices, which helped offset gains in several other categories. Excluding energy, industrial prices rose 0.7%. Strong price increases were recorded in chemicals, motor vehicles, and food products. Meat, fish, and dairy prices climbed for a ninth straight month, rising 1.9%, driven by fresh and frozen beef, 5.2% up, and chicken 2.1% amid robust seasonal demand and tight supply. Prices of primary non-ferrous metals were up 1%, supported by gains in gold 1.6% and silver 1.9%, although the platinum group metals dropped 3.7% following 3 months of gains. Energy and petroleum products prices declined 1.3%, led by a 6% drop in diesel. Gasoline prices, however, rose 1.8%, supported by summer driving season demand. And those were your international business stories. After the break, do rejoin us for your recap.
Vesco started from 5 shareholders who believed that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational. The director shareholders always believed that the dealers within our network should be owners of the company. They believe that staff should be owners of the company. And specifically also believe that the public should become shareholders. That cannot be facilitated by a bank loan. Our experience so far has translated into additional customers. Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates. So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market. Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, JN Bank warns MSMEs need more than capital to secure growth. Regionally, CDB data-driven policy set to transform Cayman's small business landscape. And internationally, crypto markets retreat as profit-taking Fed signals drive pullback. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Melanie Levy, you're watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
On behalf of the Trans-Tobago Stock Exchange and the Trans-Tobago Central Depository, I'd like to wish CBX a happy anniversary. 3 years already. Thank you for what you're doing for us as a region. Thank you for keeping us connected. Here's wishing you many more years of success. Happy anniversary, CBX.